It is just about 30 seconds before 12:30. We're going to let everyone in, but it's Amber and Michelle. We're back for another Wednesday Lunch and Learn, and today we're talking about dating while quarantined. We're going to talk about love during lockdown, and this is definitely going to be a good one. So welcome, welcome. And we're going to start letting folks in. And Facebook's, you're just a little behind the scenes because it's 12:30 now. All right, here we go. So, you know, I always like to play some music for you all as people join. And what did I say we were going to? Isn't She Lovely? That was it.
There you go.
We'll go with a little Isn't She Lovely? But we'll hope that we get some men on today as well. So Stephen isn't by himself. Stephen, I hope you invited some of your guy friends to join us.
I mean, can it be aren't they lovely? I mean, why?
There you go. Yeah, we'll just replace that she for they. That's right. We're equal opportunity webinar hosts here today.
All right. Welcome, everybody.
Amber. I'm monitoring as they're coming in. Yeah. Lovely to see so many faces. We've missed you guys. It's been about 2 weeks that we took a hiatus, and we are glad to be back. So welcome.
Welcome, welcome.
Who doesn't like Stevie Wonder?
We have a little Stevie Wonder, Isn't She Lovely? We'll just play this as people join. You know, if you've joined us before, we always allow about the first 5 minutes for people to hop on with us. And as Michelle said, we're so happy to have you back. We've been on break for 2 weeks. We needed a little breather, but it's wonderful to see your faces again. And there are a lot of folks that want to talk about dating today. We had a good number of registrations. Love during lockdown seems to be a topic that we're all trying to figure out, right? All right. So while we get people joining us, I'll say this, and I'm going to say this again, but we're going to ask that you keep yourselves muted until we open up for conversation, and be mindful of what's in the background of your cameras. We are recording live. We're live on Facebook, and we're also recording this, and we'll be sharing this on YouTube. So you just be sure that whatever is in your background or whatever you say, you don't mind sharing with the world, because we're sharing it with the world.
We are now living in a fishbowl, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. We're really excited for this conversation today. We have Julianne, a dating coach and matchmaker extraordinaire. We have Stephen Carter, a pastoral counselor and the pastor of Mount Ararat Church. And we have Aria Wright, a jack of many trades, but she has an incredible new dating show called The House Date, and she's the executive producer. So we're going to talk to them in just a few when we get started at 12:35. But you guys can wave so they know who you are. Julianne, Stephen, and Aria, can you wave to everyone? Hello, hello. All right. So we'll get started in a couple minutes. How's everyone feeling? It is hot, hot, hot outside.
It's a squelcher.
Yeah, if our love lives were as hot as this weather. What'd you say?
I said it's not as hot today as it was yesterday.
Oh man, I'm sweating standing still somehow when I go outside. I was saying if our love lives were as hot as the weather outside, we'd all be very lucky, right? All right. All right. 12:33. We'll just give it a couple more minutes. Oh, we got Onika with us again. Hi, Onika. Hi, Dio. Hi, Susan. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Alex. Hi, Robin. Hi, Stephanie. We love Stephanie. You're one of our regulars, and we always love having you with us. So welcome, welcome.
Greetings from Harlem. I love it. We've got Susan Payne, who I'm sure will be speaking up at some point because she's got a great testimonial, possibly, about what her experiences have been in dating during quarantine. Right, Susan?
Yeah.
Right, Michelle. That's true.
Yes, and welcome, Portia. We see you back with us again, and Charlene. We love to see your faces. All right, so it's 12:34. I'll go ahead and make the announcement again about the housekeeping, and then we'll get right in. So again, if you're just joining us, please keep yourselves muted until we open up for conversation. You can use the chat while we're talking, but we'll also be inviting you to just jump in and turn your camera and your microphone on and ask questions or give comments. Please be aware of what's in the background. We are of your cameras, not just ours. We are recording this, and this is live on Facebook, and we will be sharing this on YouTube, and it will live forever there. So yeah, be mindful of what's in your background, and whatever you say, we're sharing. So that is your notice. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Welcome, welcome everybody. I'm Amberly Forrester, or the Flow Coach as they call me. I'm the founder of the Quartz Wellness Collective, and together with Michelle Brown, we bring you on a weekly, well, we were bringing it to you on a weekly basis, the Wednesday Lunch and Learns. Michelle, you wanna say hi and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everybody. It's so good to be back. Michelle Brown, certified executive coach, talent management, a consultant. Glad to be partnering throughout these 4 months with Amber to bring a variety of topics your way. We love these sort of more life-oriented topics, not just business and who we are in our professional lives. So we're grateful to have you all join us today. We're going to be getting some great tips and techniques from our special guests and subject matter experts today. So welcome.
Yes, we will. So we have done a variety of topics, as Michelle mentioned. And then my good friend Aria, who's been a regular joining us on Wednesdays, said, you guys haven't done anything on dating. And I'm like, you know what? We haven't. And so Aria, as the executive producer of The House Date, a new online dating show, this was your idea. And thank you for bringing this idea to us. And you're now one of our guests today. So I'm going to ask you to unmute and go ahead and introduce yourselves and just tell everyone a bit about yourself and The House Date.
Sure. Good afternoon, right? Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. I am Aria Wright, and I guess in my previous life before COVID, I had over 2 decades of experience with building brands and doing live event experiences, creating live event experiences, and really connecting brands with consumers, the consumers that they want to be connected with. And in 2018, I started my own company, The Industry Connection. And then, you know, of course, I was servicing a lot of clients within tech and entertainment and wine and spirits. And then earlier this year, I added to my credits, executive producer. And I added also co-host of a podcast. So these are things that came out of COVID. And as Amber mentioned, I am executive producer of the House Date online dating game show. We've had 5 episodes so far, and we are looking to produce a whole lot more. So hopefully someone will feel compelled to join. And I'm the co-host of a Catalyst Lifestyle podcast. That's Catalyst with a K. Thank you. Happy to be here today.
And we're glad to have you and hear about your pivot. That's incredible, Aria. Julianne, we were looking for a dating coach and you came highly recommended. Welcome. And will you please tell us about yourself and introduce yourself to everyone?
Sure. I'm Julianne Cantarella, and I am a former or a recovering social worker therapist who found my way into the relationship realm about 15 years ago. So I've been working specifically as a dating coach, matchmaker, relationship expert for the last 15 years. It's my passion. I love, love, love helping women create healthy, long-lasting, loving relationships, and I'm really blessed to do the work that I do. I get to meet wonderful people and help wonderful people create loving, healthy relationships.
Fantastic. Well, we've got some good questions for you on how we can all have loving, healthy relationships. Thank you for joining us. And of course, we saved the gentleman for last because we know how chivalrous his is. He would love to let the ladies go first. But Stephen Carter, will you please unmute yourself and introduce yourself to everyone and tell them a bit about yourself?
Good afternoon to everyone. Again, my name is Stephen Eugene Carter. I'm a native of Brooklyn, New York, and I'm the proud pastor of Mount Arad Church of Brooklyn, New York, and I've been the pastor there since 2004. I'm also author of a book called Resurrection from Rejection, learning how to overcome 7 areas of rejection in your life. And I'm a Forex trader. Then I had the privilege of my book turning into a movie. So I would say I'm a wannabe actor.
Wow.
But I love what I do as far as a pastor, which is, leading people spiritually. So when I was invited to this call, I was told that it was going to be 50 brothers and 50 sisters, but I got to represent everyone today. So I'm going to hold it down. I'm going to hold it down for the brothers.
There you go. We want to hear that male perspective too. We want to hear that male perspective. Yes.
All right.
I see we got a couple guys on with us. Wave men, hello and welcome.
Right,
you may have to stand with your brother over here.
Yeah, I see one over here. I see one. I'm happy. All right.
All right, so I'm launching a poll, and I just launched it, and we're gonna ask as we get started for everyone to just answer these 3 questions so we can know a bit more about you who's on the line with us. While you answer these questions, you should see, did everyone see the poll pop up? Yeah, okay, it's anonymous. So don't worry, we don't know who you are and who's answered. But go ahead and please put your answers in over the next couple of minutes. And we're gonna start off with actually a really funny conversation that we were having behind the scenes before everyone joined us. So I did this poll late last night, and in what's most important to you in a relationship, I did not include looks on there. And Aria said, hey, you left out looks. And it sparked a really interesting conversation. So while folks join us, I'm going to ask you all to chime in, Julianne, Stephen, Michelle, and Aria, about looks and what some of your answers are to the questions that our guests are answering now.
Sure. So I'm going to, I think, from earlier, I always roll my eyes when someone says they have to be gorgeous. It just, for me as a relationship expert, I really think about the relationship. And of course there has to be chemistry, but along with that, there has to be shared goals, shared values, and shared relationship vision if it's going to really work. And being in the industry for 15 years, I've seen chemistry grow. I've seen attraction grow. But if those other pieces aren't really there, then you don't have a lot to build on.
I have a question before we get Aria and Steve to kind of chime in on that. So you're recognizing, because I'm an advocate as a single person, that physical attraction is really important. So I'll just kind of vote for that. But when you speak about chemistry, isn't physical attraction a component of chemistry?
Absolutely. There has to be, but that isn't the main focus.
Oh, of course.
As I'm working behind the scenes, my concern when I'm coaching my clients and I'm behind the scenes, my concern is, are they treating you well? Are they investing in you? Are they showing you that they're making you a priority? Do things align that are going to take the relationship long haul? I work with my clients to go online, and I have to tell you, I've myself picked over this last 15 years, 10 husbands and long-term partners out of the trash on the sites because people didn't deem them attractive enough or enough of a match from their perspective. Then I go back in and I say, hey, listen, let's look at this person. And I have someone who is married, and she's a testimonial on my site. And the first thing she said to me is, he's bald. I don't like bald men. And by her 12th date, she said to me, he's my soulmate. So don't hang everything on the physical. You really have to obviously have that chemistry, but that can happen over time when you get to know the person and see their soul and who they are and what they offer you in the relationship.
Well said. Well said. Aria, Steve, you want to chime in?
I'm gonna let Aria go first.
Here. Hi, everybody. So I am a firm believer in my chemistry can match much better with your chemistry if I am attracted to you physically and I see something that is in you that makes me want to engage. So I definitely have also seen that in a lot of the questionnaires that we have received back from the house date. And a lot of people, you know, they want that physical attraction. So, but the physical attraction can be scalable. So it's not just about looks, it's about the swag, and it's about their hair and how well they're groomed. It's about how they're dressed. And it's about an aura, you know, just as you were saying, it's like that chemistry can be built, you know, from just looking at someone and saying, I identify with you because of these 5 things, these things I'm checking my boxes on. So I'm a firm believer in the attraction, the physical attraction, and that includes all those things that I just mentioned are the things that will draw you in to someone. So with that, I'll give it to my dear friend, Stephen.
So I agree with everything that has been said, but I do think attraction is important, and attraction is not always about someone's physical appearance. As I already just said, it could be a number of things. It could be their confidence level. It could be their leadership. It could be their status. Whatever it is, there has to be something that draws you to that person. Because remember, if you don't want to be with that person mentally, it's impossible to be with them emotionally. And so I think that there has to be an initial attraction. And I shared with the group prior to my girlfriend, who I love to death. When I first met her, I didn't say she looked spiritual. I was like, she looks good, you know. But then when I got to know her, I realized, you know, she was spiritual, and I was like, oh, okay, this could really work. But I would be lying if I said I was not with her because I was physically attracted to her. So attraction was very, very key. But it's not the main thing, because you could be with a good-looking person and still have a terrible relationship.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, I'm going to share what the poll says, and then we're going to jump on in. So current relationship status, 67% of us on the call are single, 29% of us are dating, 1% is married, or 5% are married. Words, our love language, words of affirmation got 33% of words of affirmation being your love language. Physical touch is the love language of 29% of us. Receiving gifts is the love language of 5% of us. 62% of us said quality time, and 48% said acts of service. That was a multiple choice, by the way, so I'm aware that that doesn't equal to 100. This one, we made it a little tricky. I actually made this one as you have to choose the most important. And so this is interesting. 10% of us said the most important thing in a relationship for us is love. 29% said trust. 0 said understanding, 10% said respect, 10% said communication, 0 said financial stability, 10% said commitment, 29% said compatibility. There's that compatibility, and 5% said satisfaction. All right. So interesting. And Michelle, you're muted.
I just wanted to add, I didn't realize I was on mute. Sorry, Amber. For those who may be unfamiliar with the 5 love languages and we're just kind of guessing what their meanings are, I put in the chat the link. It's an incredible short quiz that you or anyone you're dating or partnered with can take that will really help you rank what your love language is.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll get into that a bit in our conversation. So let's put a pin in that and get back around to love languages, because that would be important for us to recognize what our love languages are. So Michelle and I said, okay, we got to let this one be loose and have a conversation. But we said we'll start it off with the question of posing to our guest of single, dating, or married. In your experience, what group seems to be having the most challenges right now? And that is for all 3 of our guests.
Oh, that's a really hard question. In terms of life satisfaction, or they're struggling in their relationships?
Well, I'll give some feedback. So I was reading an article recently, and I don't know if there's real data to substantiate it, but they were saying that with COVID, married couples are having a real challenging time, and they're predicting that the divorce rate may increase because usually they're at work, you know, separated for 8 to 10 hours, 12 hours a day, and now they're under the same roof. So again, we were just curious to know which of those demographics may be having the most challenging time.
Well, I think it has been those who are married, because with this season, this pandemic will do one of two things. It either will strengthen the relationship that already exists, or it will strain it. It's not going to be neutral. It'll either be strengthened or strained, because you get a chance to see one another in aspects that you have never seen one another before. So it would actually probably bring out what already existed, but being able to separate from one another for periods throughout the day allow most people to avoid it, to walk around it, but now they have to live in it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And for me, I working with single and dating people, I think this whole situation absolutely magnifies, if you're single, that you are single, and it's becomes a little bit more painful being alone. I've had so many women reach out to me saying, wow, I really know now that I want to find someone to share my life with, because I'm isolated and I'm feeling more alone. And again, it's magnified. And for people who are dating, it's really kind of dealing with the trickiness of either not being able to see each other, or how you can see each other, or growing communication, which is really, really best done when you're spending time together. So I see that all three probably are on the same par in terms of level of difficultness, I think.
Yeah, and I think from my perspective, since obviously people send me a lot of inquiries about dating because they're single and they want to be on the dating show, but a lot of them never make it to the show because they're in denial about what they really want. I can't tell you, there are so many countless emails and so many countless DMs that I've received from people who are saying, I'm so tired of being alone. This quarantine is really killing my social life, which was really why I started the show. But then, you know, when you start to get into it with them and you start to ask them to complete a questionnaire, they're really not truthful about what it is that they really want, and they don't go the distance. So being single and being in quarantine where you're not able to talk to someone and, you know, face to face, and you're not able to socialize, is different from actually being out there and being afraid to talk to someone and being not really sure of what you want. So there's so many different perspectives that come from being single and not being able to reach out to people and to talk to them and socialize with them. So I'm going to just go off on a tangent and say, I would imagine that it's equally hard for both someone who's in a relationship, who is living with their significant other, because you're, like, just as Michelle said, sometimes you are not even there. You're not physically there. You're not required to be physically there. You're traveling, you're working, you're involved, you have kids, you have so many different activities that are taking you from home and just, you know, filling your life up with things that have to actually engage one-on-one with someone. And then on the other side, people who are not able to connect with someone, they just don't see a hope. They don't see any hope at the end of this. They don't see an end to this. So it's really frightening to them.
Yeah, and I would add, I think where most people fail to realize, and I think why most people struggle, is because there's one simple statement that I think is just significantly true. There can never be a y'all until there's a you.
Mm-hmm.
And most people are looking for a y'all, but they have not yet discovered that who they are. And you can't find, there will never be a happy y'all until there's a satisfied you. One of the biggest myths that we have promoted dealing with relationships is this idea of find your other half. No. When you're not looking for another half. You have to be whole enough yourself, and then you find someone who complements the wholeness that you already have. And two whole people can create whole love.
Nice.
Yes. Okay. You got the pastor would get the oomph in the word and the preach. Of course. Yes.
I'm going to also say that very often our relationships can heal us. And very often we can grow as an individual with a healthy relationship. So I've actually seen people who haven't been completely whole end up finding someone, and they grow and they become confident and they become whole as they're with the right person in a relationship. So our relationships can heal us, which is a beautiful thing for us to.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just want to challenge that, because I
Sure.
think in order for the person, Julianne, to be in a relationship where they allow someone else to help them in their brokenness, because all of us bring broken pieces.
Yeah.
One of the things of understanding who you are is to be able to take the you, which is your broken pieces, everything that comes with you. And then when you get into that relationship, that person is able to help you. What's the famous line? When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Right. And I think the same thing with life. When you are ready, then the person who's going to help you become a better you will appear.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. I just want to add one more thing. It's so funny that the show was today, because I go to a different church, Stephen. At we do a devotional service every morning, or a devotional word. And the word this morning was about reaping what you sow. So it definitely spoke volumes, because at that point you think about it and you say, okay, am I happy? Am I whole with myself? Am I building myself up to be able to present to someone and then have them compliment me? Am I the person that I want to be? Am I happy with everything that I can offer? So you reap what you sow.
Exactly. Yep. 100%.
Yeah. We have a question that came in from Valerie, and I'll pose it to any of the guests that want to answer it. How does a single person expand to even meet new people during a pandemic, especially if they have been single for a long time? That's a great question, Valerie.
Go on a house date.
A house date. Okay, tell us what that is, Ariane.
So the house date is and I know a lot of people just joined in. So the house date is a new show, and is a game series. The first part is, it's an online dating game show, sorry. The first part is an actual dating game portion, where we have a bachelor or bachelorette who faces off against 3 contestants that they won't see. Thank you, Julianne.
Good.
Of the show, after they've responded to a series of questions. And then once they select the person that they'd like to go out on a date with, the next part is, and it's a separate event, is an actual virtual date where they get to spend some time, and then we set up an activity for them to do together, but apart, because we're social.
That's a great option. So beyond going on Aria's show, what other options do single people have to try to meet and greet? Stephen, Julianne?
Well, I would say from the pastoral perspective, pray that you find someone when you go on Aria's show.
Julianne, as a dating coach, I'm sure that you have gotten this question quite a bit at a matchmaker. So technology is, what a great way, what a great option for us to have now. I mean, imagine if this would have happened 20 years ago, we would not have as many options. So technology included, but also, you know, can you still go to the grocery store and meet someone with your mask on, trying to stay 6 feet away from someone? How are you advising your clients to meet people and find new love or relationships during COVID?
Definitely online. I use online dating as a tool for my coaching clients, and 93% of my clients meet their significant other online, believe it or not. And it's a great tool. You have to use it safely. You have to use it, you know, market yourself the right way to call in the right person. But I think it's a great way, and my clients are meeting and social distance dating or Zoom dating. I've set up Zoom dates where clients are picnicking, you know, in each other's homes, or they're creating meals together in, you know, separate homes, I should say. So I do think that you should use it. And if you go to the supermarket and you're wearing a mask, make sure, ladies, you make up your eyes so that you look alluring behind the mask. Definitely use any and all opportunities. See, look how gorgeous you can, to meet someone, and just be open. Just be open to the possibility of what can be.
Julianne, are you finding that people are losing hope with quarantine?
I'm sorry, Amber.
I was just asking, are you finding that people are losing hope and finding love with quarantine, or is hope still alive? And I'll ask for you all to weigh in on this as well.
Sure. In the beginning, absolutely. I saw people were like, oh my gosh, what do I do? There was a panic. You know, I had someone start with me for coaching and she had waited a really long time to date. And now she's like, okay, the universe is really sending me a message that I'm not supposed to meet someone. And it's like, no, that's not exactly right. And, you know, we took a little time off and, you know, pivoted and saw how it was all going to play out. And I think people are now starting to say, okay, we're, especially, you know, here in New Jersey, we're in a space where COVID's kind of calming down. If we use common sense and safety, we can absolutely meet people for a coffee in the park, and just spend some time together meeting people. And people, I'm telling you, people online have never been more serious about connecting and meeting.
I think Stephen had a point. Stephen, did you have a point that you wanted to make?
No, I was just going to mess with Julian because at first you said looks are not important, but she just said put on a mask, but ladies, make sure you did it up. So subconsciously you think looks are important. I just wanted to bring that out.
No, I just know that your eyes look more alluring when you put on mascara.
But I'm just saying, subconsciously
okay. But no, I always say you have to bring your A game. You can't show, it's like you're not going to submit your resume on the back of like a piece of paper, right? You always have to bring your A game. But when you're in it, I want you to be mindful that that's not everything. You have to show up. You have to present the best version of you. When I coach my clients to go online, I actually have a full photo shoot for them. It's 2.5 hours long. There are four wardrobe changes. There's makeup involved. So I do believe you have to bring the best version of you, but knowing that when you meet that person, there's more to them than just the exterior.
No, exactly. I'm just messing with you, Julia.
You can mess with me anytime, but I take this subject very seriously, if you can't tell.
I think that, to piggyback on that, I think in any relationship, there are 3 C's that I always use, or really 4 C's, but because this is an interfaith dialogue, I'll keep it to the 3 C's. I think in any relationship, 3 C's are important. Any successful relationship, it's commitment, it's communication, and it's compromise.
I love that.
You cannot have a successful relationship or marriage without those 3. You have to commit to it, you have to communicate through it, and you got to compromise for it. And I think when 2 people share commitment, compromise, and communication, they can overcome any stormy weather. So I think when you even looking to meet someone, you have to find out is this a person who knows how to communicate, who's willing to commit, and who understand that even at this age, however you are in our 30s, 40s, when you meet someone, the biggest challenge is compromise, because you have to start changing who you are and who you have been, because now you're introducing someone else into your reality. And I think that's the hardest thing, learning to understand that it's no longer just me.
You raise a really good point, Stephen, and you got to increase that age range, because you've got 50 and 60-year-olds that are single. So we talk about compromise, right? It's like, okay, my life has looked a certain way, and it's a little tougher as the decades progress. So I want to introduce a question, Portia Preston. She's expressing that she's been really having a tough time trying to do online dating during COVID and feels a little desperate. So Portia, do you want to unmute yourself? Because we want the subject matter experts to give you a little bit of guidance here.
So basically, I just feel like COVID, unfortunately, is not really stopping the show for me, because I feel like my dating life sucked a little bit prior to COVID. I'm not sure what it is. I just haven't been necessarily meeting people or meeting the right people. But I've been single for like a really long time. I'm single, I'm young, I'm only 33. I have no children. I just started a real estate business. So I'm not sure if I come off intimidating to some men or what the case may be. But yeah, my dating life sucked, and I tried online dating, and I tend to feel as if it kind of makes me seem, I feel like it makes me seem a little desperate with online dating. So I'm not a big fan of it.
Okay. All right, let's chime in. Let's try to support Portia and turning it around.
Sure, I would love to address that, but because I saw your comment there. So I think, and I'm just going to speak from a personal perspective. I've always, shied away from online dating because of the fact that, I thought people are just too kind of, invasive, and they will come in and they will, not be the right person for you, and they will continue to show up in your profile, and then it, like, your name gets out there, your face gets out there, and then people are like, oh my gosh, that's that girl that I saw on online dating, app. But we are in a different time right now. We are so much more wiser at this point. So we have to kind of think of different ways to engage people. So in addition to online dating should be an option that you should explore, I think that you also need to look at, the course of your regular day. Who in your life have you known for a long time that you may have gone out with before, or may even, have liked and may want to revisit and look at them in a different way. So the person that, and I say all that to say, the person that is right in front of you, or that may be someone that you dated 20 years ago, may be that person for you. So you just need to think about who in your life and who's going through your life cycles that would be interesting for you. And if it's that important for you, if dating is that important for you, start making a list and checking it off twice to make sure that there are other options for you. So in addition to online dating, just think of who in your life that would check some of those boxes for you, and then just go back and circle around with them.
Yes. And I would say to Portia, whatever you do, don't lower your standards, and don't compromise who you have become, because a lot of times people compromise who they are for a relationship. So if you may meet men who are intimidated by you, but then obviously that's not who you want anyway. So find that one, as God, pray that God will send you that one who's not intimidated by you, but inspired by you, and want to continue to grow with you.
Yes. And I'm going to piggyback on that, Portia. And I love what both Stephen and Aria said. They're spot on. And I do want to address that there's this, I hear it very often from women, and it's what I would call a self-limiting belief, to believe that a man is intimidated by you. The right man is not going to be intimidated by you. And they want a smart, successful, attractive woman like you. So kind of leave that idea behind and look at, maybe you're not, there's this myth that if it's meant to be, it'll happen. I don't believe that. I believe that if you set your intention, and I'm a big, huge believer in prayer. Stephen, I'll share with you, certain clients who subscribe to a religion or prayer, I really encourage them to do that. So it's set your intention, dispel that, or get rid of that self-limiting belief that a man is intimidated by you, because that's not true. The right man is going to want to be your partner and see you as this smart, successful woman you are. So just think, and what Aria said, get out there and just give it your all and be open. I know I said that earlier, but if you can be as open as possible to the process of being available to meet someone, you will meet someone without a doubt.
And Michelle, let me just throw this 30-second thing in there about, since you said prayer. Prayer is so important, because when I was out of a relationship, I was, just praying that God will send the right person, and I knew who I wanted, and I prayed. And although when I first met my girlfriend many, many years ago, we had no idea that we'll be here today, but one day, 5 years later, I was just randomly, I'm thinking I'm going through my phone to call her just to see how she's doing. And I didn't know she had just prayed to God, like, listen, please send me that person who you want me to be with. And she was like, next thing you know, you called. And the rest is history. Although I thought I was just calling her, I didn't know that she had just prayed as well. So sometimes when you pray, God will work, and you don't even know that he's working behind the scenes, working for you, on you, and through you, but you have to just trust the process.
Oh, I may not always be there when you call, but he's always on time.
Come on.
So I want to weigh in on this before we move into a couple of questions that are in the chat. So 2 points. One being, of course, as a coach and a positive psychology practitioner, I'm going to give the positive spin to things. This right now is also the opportunity for us to do things a bit differently than what we've done before. And so if in the past in your dating has not worked, and you're saying like, there's some comments of before my dating life sucked, this is the opportunity to do something different. So one of the most successful ways of meeting, and Julianne or Stephen, you guys can, or Aria, weigh in on this, Michelle as well. One of the most successful ways of meeting someone is when friends connect friends. So just as Aria spoke about, looking at other people or someone maybe right in your face, we can't go into big scenes anymore. We can't go into big crowds anymore. So we're in more intimate spaces, and there may be some people who are friends of friends who are coming together in intimate spaces that you look at in a different light because of this. So another thing is just being open, when we open ourselves energetically to the experience or to the thought of meeting someone else, our energy comes across differently. When we're closed, people feel that. And if we're closed off and feeling like we don't want to date, someone made a comment about being timid, people can feel that timid energy. And so even though what Julianne said about the putting on mascara, sometimes it's not, I get what you mean, that it's not just about the physical, because it's about the feeling, the effort that goes into establishing that energy of opening yourself up for someone to approach you. Yeah, and then lastly, about the list that Aria said, I'll say, so I'm married, I've been married for 9 years. When I was in relationships before I got married, after a serious relationship, I would journal. I would always reflect on the relationship and what didn't quite go right. And I would make a list of what I wanted moving forward. And so from a psychology standpoint, that makes me more aware. It's our reticular activation system. We are more aware of what we have made more concrete by writing down. So it's like, I know more of what I'm looking for. I know what I'm looking for because I've been clear and I've written it down. So when it's in my face, then I'm like, wait, check, 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 check. Okay. And so like, I always share that with my single friends, make those lists and take the time to do the reflection after you are breaking up so that you're not just carrying some of the same issues from one relationship to another. Okay, we got a lot of questions.
I just have that I wanted to share as well, and it kind of underscores, Amber, what you just make reference. And I'm not a dating coach; I'm a professional career coach. But I think it speaks to we cannot attract what we're not. Mm-hmm. So even from a spiritual perspective, and this goes a lot to what Stephen has been sharing as well as the other two, if we can't, I mean, it's the law of attraction. We can't attract what we're not. So if we're looking for a confident, poised individual, well, if we feel somewhat timid or insecure, that's the work that we have to do within ourselves. And sometimes pushing ourselves beyond our comfort zone and becoming more confident, becoming with a higher self-esteem, really valuing who we are, that will enable us to sort of be that way, and subsequently being able to attract that, compliment will really kind of help. And I really love what you said, Stephen. We have to do work on ourselves first, because it's not about having anyone complete us. That whole myth from Jerry Maguire, "you complete me," is a misnomer, right? It's about coming to a relationship as whole as we possibly can, but being on that journey. So yeah, maybe that addresses the comment that was in the chat about feeling timid. Look to sort of, JS, I think, made reference to it, work to see what you can do that is going to boost your self-esteem, see you as the prize, and be able to go out there boldly knowing that you are deserving of a great relationship.
And I think it's, and we have every relationship, every person you interact with, including yourself, comes with three things. Everyone comes with a past, everyone comes with fears, but everyone comes with potential. And you have to be willing to understand those three things. And I think the beauty of love is not growing in spite of things, is actually growing through things. And when the two of you can become vulnerable enough to trust one another, it's the journey that builds, that creates the love and the excitement and the endurance. But it takes time. The problem with a lot of relationships today, in my opinion, even as a pastor, when I look into my congregation, the problem is that a lot of people, they want microwave love, and that's impossible. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It takes time. for the most part, relationships are the only areas in our lives where we want the success without the work.
Oh yeah.
And that's just not gonna happen. My parents been married 55 years, and they work. They still work, even in their 80s. They still work at it. I asked my father what's the key to marriage. He said, just do everything she says.
Smart man.
But my mother said this. I said, Dad, I said, you ran the house when I was growing up. That's what it looked to me. And my mother said this: marry a woman who is smart enough to make you think you run the house.
So I was going to say that I think a lot of women in particular beat up on themselves about their timeline. You know, their clock's ticking, they've got this agenda, they've got this list, and then they put a timeline on it. You can't put a timeline on finding the right person. And if someone that you meet and you don't connect with right away, but you do see that there's potential, you can't throw that person away. You have to really invest some time in really making sure that this is the right person for you, finding those commonalities, finding those things that you really like about that person, and things that just really make you feel great inside, and then just build from there. And so I'm giving a nod to Julianne, because I definitely have the physical, attraction thing going up front, but definitely that's not going to last, and you have to work on building something together that really works for both of you. And you cannot put a time limit on it. You have to invest the time and make sure that it's right for you both.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Julianne.
No, I was just going to say, without a doubt, I agree with you 100%, Aria. I also think you have people who are newly dating or trying to date. I would caution you to jump into the first relationship that comes along because it seems to be the right fit. Very often, I have clients who are like, I really like this guy. And I'm going, that's great, but we don't know him. He's a stranger. And that takes, getting to know someone takes place over time by spending time with them and going through experiences with them. How are they going to react when the times are difficult? How are they going to treat you? How are they going to manage, different life experiences? These are the things that we really need to see to determine if someone's the right fit for you. So yeah, I've seen people try to rush relationships and be like, this is it. And then they turn around if it's 6 months later and it doesn't work. And then it's, well, excuse my language, but dating sucks and relationship sucks. No, the way you approached the relationship wasn't the right way. I don't want to say the wrong way, but it didn't turn out well. So I always say slow and steady wins the race. So if you take time to get to know someone, to see if those things really align that you need to align, then you'll have probably more success than just jumping into the first relationship. We all, as Stephen said, the microwave relationship, or the microwave love. And that's exactly what I see. People are like, woohoo, this is it. And I'm like, no, it's not. You got to slow things down, and you have to really take time to get to know your partner. And if you can date more than one person at a time, I'm all for that too, believe it or not. And that's what my clients have to do that. They have to date multiple men at one time. My clients have spreadsheets, and I think someone here could attest to that.
Love it. I want to address a question, Desi. I'm going to put you on the spot because I think what you made reference to is very relevant for people of color. And certainly unmute and sort of chime in. So she made reference to oftentimes there's race issues, race challenges when it comes to sort of dating, particularly for Black women. There's studies online that dating data has shown that Black women are chosen least by potential partner for dating, especially with potential online when people aren't seeing the personality, they're just kind of seeing the face and whatever the profile is. So Desi, you want to unmute and kind of address this and get some insight and advice from the subject matter experts?
Yeah, I think that, there are several kinds of challenges that come, with dating, being a Black person, and just because even when you are a Black woman, there is this hope that you're going to fit into this kind of Beyonce, mold. And so even if someone is willing or says, I'm open and I'll date anyone, there is still this prototype that people are looking for. And so if you are older or dark or bigger, you know, those are not, I don't find them to be obstacles for me, but I do find that they can be inhibitors for people who think that you may come to the table with some level of bossiness or anger or some unconventional level of attractiveness. And this is even if you are interested in dating Black or Hispanic or men of color. Even amongst men of color, they do still have these hesitations around dating Black women. And that has a lot to do with a lot of the disassembled bifurcations within communities of color, which is a whole other Zoom meeting. But I'm wondering if there are any recommendations for dating sites for people who are sort of diverse kinds of Black people. Like, I don't want to just date any old Black dude because he's Black. I do want someone who is compatible, even though he, you know, that is my preference. I'd like to know that there's sort of a wide net of men of color who are interested in dating women of color, who are not simply fetishizing Black women, and who also have a real genuine understanding of the community that I come from. So that's a totally loaded question, but I'm saying these are all of the things that you navigate, you know, as a Black woman who is looking to date upwardly mobile, smart, bright, woke Black dudes.
Is that for me? Is me?
It's for everyone.
Okay. All right. All right. I'd like to start. So in my experience, I think that it sounds like it's a big challenge, so I would never minimize that. I have worked with Black women in the past, and I truly have experienced that. However, again, it's just the experience that I have had. I would say, you know, and I know this is really not exactly the most wonderful thing to think about, but it might be the way you're showing up in your profile, in online, as who you're attracting and who you might not be attracting. I do this with every client I work with. I really talk to them about, you know, when they come to me, they're feeling very vulnerable and exposed, that they have to put themselves out there. And we talk about, you know, in this, just between us, who is it that you're really looking for? Who is it that you want to share your life with? I think Aria had said earlier before that, you know, the people who come to her show don't really know what that is, or they think they do, and it's very big and very grandiose. And then when my clients have come to me like that, they think they want that, you know, alpha male, this, that, and the next thing in the room. But when we sit in the quiet of our conversation, we really are able to distill down who's going to be a good partner for you long term. And maybe that's when you're online, who you need to look for and how you need to show up so you attract that person. So that's just kind of in a small nutshell, my thoughts on that.
Well, Amber texted me, asked me to weigh in, and so I'm a risk it, Desi, and I'm gonna weigh in. Yeah, I'm gonna weigh in. So I think there's nothing wrong. Every man wants a strong Black woman. I love my strong Black girlfriend. She's strong and she's super strong.
That's what they say.
Let me finish. So the point is this. I think there is a difference between strong and emasculating. Every man, whether you like it or not, Black, white, otherwise, every man has an ego. And we can disagree with it. We can say it's wrong. Right. Every man has an ego. And so I think it's not that we don't want a strong woman, but we want to have that strong person who can build us without breaking us at the same time. And I think there are ways to correct. Like one thing, if I'm wrong, if I do something wrong in public, I don't mind my girlfriend correcting me when we're together, saying, yo, listen, don't, and she asks, like, listen, this better not happen again. This is how this make me feel. But has she done that in public, it carries a different connotation. You know, it's like, hold on, you just emasculated me. Although what you may be saying is correct, you still emasculating me. So I think there are ways that women can be strong, regardless black, otherwise, but I think women can be strong, but still make their men feel like they are something. We want to be y'all kings. We want to be the one who we want to know that y'all look to us like we are here for whoever we're with. That's who we're dependent on. You know, I told my girlfriend, whose name is Brenda, by the way, I told Brenda, I said, listen, if I preach a sermon and the whole church said the sermon is good, but you say the sermon was terrible, that carries more weight with me, because at the end of the day, I'm looking for your validation. You know, so I think it's understanding how to be strong without stripping the person you are with. Does that make sense, Desi?
It absolutely makes sense, and I agree with you fully, and have recognized I'm older than I look, the benefit of being a Black woman, and have recognized that you know, there are ways in which, like, I don't have to open every jar of pickles. I can, but I'm very fine with that's just an example, but I'm saying I recognize that, you know, I'm not gonna, you know, be put in my place if I have to ask somebody to do that for me. So I would agree with you. I think that everything doesn't have to be a power struggle. And I think if we both come to the table and understand and know that we're both capable people, then it's a balance. You know, who can do it now, who can do it later, who can do it better at this moment. You know, I'm secure enough in myself to know that I can put the reins over and recognize that there are some very sort of biological differences in the ways in which people come to the table for a relationship. And so I'm not a ball buster.
You know, it's interesting. Danielle, I don't see you. You raised a really good point here. You said there's a faith and spiritual factor to talk about. You want to verbalize that?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I was just hearing, and as it pertains to finding that person for you, I think it goes back to the finding the you. It's where, no matter what you are, 5'10", different nationality, there's a level of faith and spirituality that you should really believe. It's like a belief system. I believe love too is not just about, it's about a spiritual connection. People who are for you will come to you. You will find them when you do the work on yourself. When you trust in that power, and you find that confidence within you. There's no work you really need to do. You don't have to really seek. This is just my own opinion. You don't have to seek someone. Someone is seeking you. And as you do the work for yourself, loving yourself, no matter what, my mother always used to say growing up when I was a kid, there's someone for everyone. And I really took that to heart, because I truly believe that. There is somebody for everyone, but you have to be willing to do the work to be your most authentic self, so that that person can be attracted to that person that is you. And sometimes it's really about sitting back and not having to do anything, or having to work so hard at trying to meet somebody. If you do the work on yourself, you will attract that person, because it's just the law of attraction.
Can I just say something? When you use the law of attraction, you have to take action. So even though I'll share with Stephen and Ari and everyone, I actually am Catholic. And when I was dating early on, I was meeting one not right partner after another. And I actually did a novena to St. Anne. And in it, I really put that energy out into the universe. But I didn't just sit back and wait for the prayer to take action. I actually became my own dating coach. I went out, I did what I needed to do to meet my now husband. So I do absolutely agree with Danielle that you do have to do work, and being whole and having that confidence will project out. But I do believe that, staying at home or not getting involved, even if you want to volunteer, because you're likely to meet someone who's like-minded, volunteering for the same thing. You can't just sit in your house and hope that it happens.
You know what? I agree with what you're saying, but when I say non-action, I mean inspired action. Sometimes action could be arbitrary, where you're just doing it because you want to fill the void. But the action I'm talking about, or the non-action, is about being inspired to turn left when you should turn right, and you meet that person. It's like, it's one of those things where you're not seeking to find something, but you are feeling inspired to do something. Does that make sense?
And let me just add on to that, since, let me just give, because I know we're getting closer to the end, but let me just give the Bible perspective. There's so many examples, but we always hear people talk about, Ruth and Boaz, and people always talk about, I want to meet my Boaz, someone saying I want to meet my Ruth. But if you read that scripture and that story, it shows that the two of them were already about their business. The two of them were doing their own thing when they came to one another. So as Danielle is saying, this person was already operating in her lane and his lane, and then God brought them together. Even when you look at creation, before God brought Eve to Adam, depending on your faith, but before God brought Eve to Adam, he first gave Adam a purpose. And a lot of times, sisters are looking for people, brothers are looking for people without purpose. I think when you find your purpose,
yes,
then your partner.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so boy, these conversations go so quickly and are so thought-provoking. So we want to thank our special guests, Aria, Julianne, and Stephen, for your expert thoughts and advice and best practices to really kind of help any of us on this call that are in search of a relationship or in a relationship to, do it optimally during COVID. So as we close out, just a couple of things we want to make reference. So Amber and I have decided that this is going to continue. It's going to be more of a Wednesday lunch and learn as opposed to a weekly lunch and learn. Our next one, we're going to do it now once a month. So the first Wednesday of every month is when we'll be back. And the topic that we'll be covering August 9th is going to be addressing racism in the workplace. We had a...
August 5th. I think it's August 5th.
I'm sorry, what did I didn't say August? What did I say?
Yeah, you said August 9th, but it's August 5th.
Oh, August 5th. I'm sorry, you're right. Wednesday, August 5th. Yeah, so it's going to be a bit of a follow-up to one of the most well-attended, somewhat controversial and timely webinars that we did, given what we're experiencing in terms of racism and social injustices. So tune in for that. The other pitch I want to make is around that same topic, July 30th, on my website, as well as any of my social media posts, and Amber's as well. We are going to be partnering with Vanessa Phipps, who's been an attendee on these calls. She's also the president of the National Association of African American Professionals. And we're going to be doing a webinar on, again, racism in the workplace. So we hope you'll tune into that. What else did I miss in terms of closing out? Anything else, Amber?
So we are not doing these every week as we were just yet, unless someone knows a sponsor that wants to sponsor us, then let us know. But we are offering some group coaching opportunities, and some of the people who've joined us in the past have reached out to us, and they're looking for a professional group coaching with their circles. And so just be on the lookout for offers that are coming from Michelle and I. You guys are all on our email list if you've joined us now, so you'll hear from us again. And please open the emails. They have good stuff in them. But that is all. This has been great. Thank you all so much for joining us. And I see a lot of comments about the panel. Our panelists were excellent. So Julianne, Aria, and Stephen, thank you.
Amber, would I have time to say one thing? I know you're just closing out, but this is Susan. Can I just want to say I've been working with Julianne, and she has helped me tremendously with everything you guys have been talking about. And I have been doing some cool socially distancing dating and in a safe way, and been getting nurtured. And I'm in my 70s. So I just want to give everybody, So I just wanted to share that it is possible, and it does have to do with what everyone's been talking about.
That's right. You got that swag, Susan. That's what I was.
Go ahead, Susan.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you so much.
It's never too late to enter the dating scene, right?
Not at all. Never.
Never.
Desi,
Right.
there's still hope. There's still hope, Desi. There's still hope. There's still hope.
We're hopeful romantics. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you all once again for joining us, and we will see you hopefully on August 5th.
All right. God bless.
Thank you.
Thanks
Yes,
again.
yes.
All right. Enjoy the rest of the week.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Go to the house date online.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Oh, and we forgot to say, where do we find you? I'm sorry. There's still, we're going to share it in the post email. We'll share it in one of our follow-up emails on how to find everyone. But yes, go to the house date. And Julianne, if you want to say your website
Sure.
for folks who are still around.
Yeah, juliannecantarella.com.
Okay. Well, yeah. And we'll be sure to share that in our post wrap up everything. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.